Rings. Rings. I'd argue that rings are the single best implement for building your chest. Because, like dumbbells, they allow for the converging motion, which is unlike barbells. And there's a reason why a lot of people struggle to build their chest with barbells. It's because of the front delt and tricep dominance. But rings allow you to converge your chest, or your humerus to your chest, your midline, just like dumbbells, without the added impracticality of having to hoist a giant dumbbell over your head and then dumping it on the ground and, I live in the roof, so smashing the ground and waking everyone below. Also, it does allow you to fail quite safely. Because even if you've got weight on your back, you just pancake on the ground. It's not like a barbell, it smashes down in front of you. And the progressive overload potential is there as well, because you don't need nearly as much absolute load as you would with dumbbells. You know, if you're relatively strong, you might be pushing 80 kilos on dumbbells. That's a lot of weight to hoist over your head and drop. And also, if you've got a home gym, that's a lot of iron you have to buy. Whereas with ring push-ups, you can just load a backpack. Most of the weight is yourself. So let's say you're pushing the total load of 80 kilos, you might only need 20, 30 kilos in your back. And there's many ways to do that. But I like to use a backpack because it leaves clearance across the front. You're not going to bang against the ground like you would when you're wearing a weighted vest. And when picking the bag, you want something with a decent amount of padding across the back and across the straps. And I like to add a bit of extra padding in the form of towels. And that just stops, if you use weight plates, digging into your back. So you can progressively overload by just adding these gradually. Often it's easier to add a big plate because then it just sits on its own, doesn't wriggle, as opposed to having lots and lots of little plates, which can rattle around and shift quite a lot. So when the time comes, switch to a bigger plate if you have one. I also like to use sandbags from ankle weights, but I haven't seen these that often. So it's often easier just to make sure you've got decent padding and enough weights to progressively overload. That said, putting the weight on can be quite difficult. So I recommend you have some sort of stool or some sort of elevated height which you can use to put the backpack on, and as you'll see later, take off. But having a backpack, especially when it's fastened, obviously, is pretty natural. If you got it set up properly, it won't fall off your back, and it's really quite stable. It's not actually that much harder to load this up than any other exercise. Contrary to popular belief, the rings are quite stable once you get used to them. But yeah, like once it's clipped on, you can really lock in. As you can see here, I'm coming up to failure, and we'll see it in a minute. Yeah, splashdown, fine, easy, totally safe. And here you can see again, having a stool helps to take it off. Really simple, safe, and you can put anything in there. So when you set up the rings, especially if you're doing it for chest, you want to have it sort of slightly wider than shoulder width. I've got them set up on the beams, but you can set it up on a pull-up bar or anywhere like that. And then for the upper chest, you want a slight angle down. So I've got a stool here, but again, you can use anything. I think it's 15 degrees is the best. If you want to add a little bit to the lower chest, you can use dips. And again, it's the rings. I like to do a little baby muscle up just to make sure I still can. But yeah, you can do a fully rounded out chest workout with rings. You really don't need anything else. Really, that's my piece. Come at me.